there's nothing really greater or more original than sliced bread. We even have a saying for it in English. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, there really was a time before sliced bread. Let me tell you about it. See, sliced bread as a product was introduced at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. That was a very historical World's Fair. Nikola Tesla terrified the masses by shooting electricity out of his hands. The U.S. Pledge of Allegiance was first delivered by a giant mass of schoolchildren. Bertha Palmer introduced the brownie, the dessert, not the Girl Scout. George Ferris Jr. built the famous Ferris wheel for the first time, and that was the centerpiece of the fair. Other firsts of that fair: the moving walkway, the train third rail, the souvenir squash penny, and many products still popular around the world today, including the dishwasher and the bread knife. That's right. The first official bread knife in history was introduced at the 1893 World's Fair. Actual sliced bread took another 35 years until July 1928. A former jeweler named Otto Rohwedder finally produced a loaf that had been automatically sliced by a machine. It was not a simple thing. He had to sell off his jewelry stores to raise funds, and 10 years earlier, a fire had destroyed his prototype and his designs. So he had to raise money again. Bakers tried to stop him, thinking that his machine would ruin their bread. Finally, overcoming both human and mechanical battles, he patented a machine that both sliced and wrapped bread. Now, I include all these details to make it clear, to make the point that there was, according to the U.S. Patent Office, a first loaf of sliced bread that involved real people living through real drama and a real triumph. Imagine that moment when the first loaf came through off the slicing machine, wrapped in plastic, after 15 years of effort. The local papers called the machine startling, marveling at how each slice is the exact counterpart of its fellows, so neat and precise. By 1930, Continental Baking launched the famous Wonder Bread. By 1933, the United States was producing more sliced loaves than unsliced loaves. Sliced bread had taken over the industry in a short 3 years. Despite the fact that people have been eating bread that was sliced for thousands of years, someone still innovated it. Perhaps the fact that something so basic needed to be created was what has made it the benchmark as the greatest innovation ever. It makes us always want to say the greatest thing since sliced bread. Note that the slicer was an invention. The bread itself was the real innovation, because that was the one that people experienced. Bread that arrived sliced on their shelf.